I know you guys have been waiting, so buckle up because it's Friday again. And I just want to kind of show my progress over the last week and some change. That is not a jug of piss, that is sweet tea, which we're not going to talk about right now. The last video I posted, I did not have this middle area done, and I did not have that done. So I come out about 4 to 5 hours a night, so you can see how long it takes to really kind of get this done over the last, week and a couple days, like I said. So if you're getting ready to start out on this, that's probably what you can expect as far as time. So I've been making these videos not necessarily to get notoriety. I don't really care. I have a great job. I make plenty of money. I'm fine. But as I was trying to figure this out, because I wanted to build one, I had questions, and I saw a lot of other people in the comment sections on YouTube having the same things, same questions they were proposing. And so I thought I would make this as a first-time tree net builder that would kind of showcase some of the problems I've come across and kind of my way to figure out the best solution for what I could, to make it happen. And so far, everything is turning out really well. I've had a couple situations that have popped up that I've had to deal with, that I've talked about briefly in some of the videos, and so they're there for you to explore. But right now, over the last week, weaving has really been something that's kind of popped in my mind, and it's because of the progression, because I've gone from chaos into patterns. And initially, I didn't really care about the patterns because I tried them out, and I just mentioned that the patterns weren't working for me because they're leaving big gaps, but I realized that you can make adjustments that would help. And so I'm actually kind of enjoying doing them. So the chaos. If I was me and I was building again, I would definitely start off with chaos. If I was doing this for the first time and I didn't know any better, I would still do the chaos because you don't need any technique. You're basically just going all over the place and leaving a spot in the middle. And so you're weaving, and then you kind of leave the middle as a way to tighten everything up. And so that's Alonzo from Tree Net Weaves' his technique. And so that's what I adopted, and it works out. One thing he mentions is that you're going to have these small little spots here. And as you're working through your net, you're going to want to close off an area, but then you're like, oh shit, how do I get over here? And you got to go through this little pocket of, these tiny things. And it's a pain in the ass because you're not seeing your net get created faster. You're just weaving in an area you've already weaved. So when I do chaos, I still do the same damn thing. That still happens to me. So it really helps if you're just kind of mindful about where you're going. Think about where you want to go, even though you don't have any plan of where you're going to go, I guess, The other thing you'll notice if you've been weaving is you're going to start coming across these situations where you're like, man, I'm kind of replicating this thing that I did in this spot, and I'm going to keep doing it in this little small area. And then you're like, man, it's kind of like a pattern. That's cool. I don't really know what I did, but it worked out. And that happened to me in this area. I just noticed that I was going to try to replicate this, and it doesn't look great, but you can kind of see where it's uniform. And this is one of probably, I think the first one I did. And then I was like, man, I wonder if I can replicate that over here. And I can see where I was trying it. You won't. And it looks like complete dog shit. But that's how it is, just experimenting. This was the dream catcher. You know what? Charlie from Charlie's Webs talked about this, how you just kind of stitch in a circle and keep going and get into the middle. And I tried it, and it turned out awful. But it's kind of cool because it sinks in a little bit, and it's great for your butt. And while this sinks in, these sides around do not. So it's real comfortable when you're laying there. To be honest, it was kind of a debacle, but it worked. So here we are. We're still kind of coming across a situation where you can see some of these looking uniform. Sorry about the shadows and the lighting. It's just that time of the day. And then still kind of progressing, into these patterns. So the patterns, get into that. The two people that have been the most helpful are Charlie from Charlie's Webs and Alonzo from Tree Net Weaves. So the only video I've seen from Charlie is when he did a collaboration with the other YouTube guy, How Not To. And Charlie was explaining his patterns. And that helped me because it was a very quick video. He does not give away everything all the time, unfortunately. You know, a lot of people don't seem to want to, which is crazy because if they want you to buy a course and you're going to spend all this money on the course, but you don't want to because you're like, man, that's expensive. It's not like you're going to turn around and go and pay these guys like 20 or 30 grand to come build a tree net for you, you know? So I guess it doesn't really matter if they show you or not, you know, they're not really losing out. That's just my opinion. But Alonso's got some, and it looked like when he was starting out, when he was really kind of like figuring things out, you know, he was showing you his methods and all that stuff. And so anyway, so I watched Charlie's video and he explains it, and it's very simple. So right now you can look at this and you can see there's like multiple patterns in here. And if you care about them, that's great. If you don't, you know, like you can skip this because that's all I'm going to talk about for the remainder. Not like I want to make this long, man. I don't want to make long videos, but this I thought might be kind of helpful for people that are considering patterns. I think they're nice. I think it's kind of cool because you can adjust what you're doing to make them tighter or wider, depending on what you want. And I like mine real tight. And you also don't have to worry about like weaving a bunch of little tiny areas to go back through. It's just kind of back and forth. So you can see how here I've got like these little coffin shapes almost, you know, like these little teardrop looking guys. And then, you know, you'll have some like hexagons coming and you're like, man, how'd you do that? Like, why is it bigger here and then smaller here and bigger here? Like, what are you doing? It is so simple. Come to find out, I think this is the best way to show you here because you can see the layers, and Charlie explains these as layers. You can find the video if you want. You could probably comment and I can shoot it over to you. This is how it goes. A piece of 550 cord from here to here, you tie it off. And then you're gonna have your base to it, or what I call a base. So after you tie it off, you're gonna come back through and you're just gonna kind of weave back and forth right at the bottom. And so what that does is it keeps these all equidistant and then it spreads them out, you know? So it makes them like lines that are going back and forth versus like triangles. Oh yeah, sorry. And by the way, once you tie this line, you're gonna do like this back and forth A configuration where you're making like a bunch of A's. Anyway, and then you come back through and you do your like little base where you're kind of weaving back and forth on the bottom. And then you'll do the same thing up at the top. You'll weave and it keeps them all stretched out, right? And after that, you're just running 550 cord right through it and you're weaving back and forth. And you're doing it whatever interval you want. If you want this bigger, then you keep your legs farther apart. If you want it tighter, then bring them together. And the only other thing after that, really, is which direction you're weaving. So you can see how this is down, and then this little guy is up, right? It's got a pattern. One's up, one down, one's up, one down. And so now this is following that same pattern. As this one is down, this one's down. As this one's up, that one's up. But you can flip it. You can weave it so now these are opposing each other. And when you do that, you're going to start creating different shapes. And the tighter you weave it, the farther apart you weave it, you're going to get different shapes. That's it. That's all there is to it. There's nothing else. There might be some other methods to make up some other cool looking stuff, but I mean, that is pretty much it. I hope that helps. And I don't know, maybe another week or so I'll post another.